And there's our red dot. That means we start. Welcome to Sister Talk. My name's Amy.
I'm Cindy.
And we are here at Sister Talk Live, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, every other Wednesday, the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. And we're very, very happy that you chose to join us tonight, because we know that you have many options for a 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. And thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you again. I'm going to take Amy's words because this is really a labor of love. You know, Amy and I are really sisters.
All of our life.
All of our life. I know her since she was born. And I am the older sister, 3 years older. And we always had a very special bond, and we always enjoyed each other's company. But we never worked together. Amy had her career, I had mine. We had different paths. And just recently, in the last year, Amy made life changes, so did I, and we have been doing more and more things together, traveling a little more together. We did a big charity event for the SOS Children's Village, and we said, you know, it would be fun to work together. What can we do? What can we do to try to spread the love?
Yeah, and so we recognize that, you know, women over the age of 40 don't really have a great platform to share ideas and discuss topics. And we were discussing all of these things and feeling as if, well, we'd like to discuss these things with you, and we would want your input and to create a sisterhood.
Absolutely. You know how when you go out with your girlfriends and you're all sitting around a table and you're just shooting the breeze and all these other topics come up and you're like, oh, you feel that way too? Oh, you're in menopause? Oh, you're sweating and it's going down your cleavage? Me too. Right. It's such a good thing. Inclusion.
You're starting to stink. I'm starting to stink.
Right? Yeah, really.
You want to have other people, you know,
have your back. And I always have your back.
You do. I do. And I have yours. And so we're going to be talking about topics such as that. You know, we're going to be talking about menopause and light topics like fashion and beauty and
fitness, health. You know, also in our age, the 40s and beyond, things are changing. Our bodies are changing, and there's so much crap out there about what to eat, what not to eat, kind of diets, organic products, this and that. And so, because we are not professionals, we are always going to include, not always, but a lot of the time, we're going to include a professional who will then give you the correct information. Because we want to hear about it too, so we're assuming you guys do.
Yeah, and we want this to be interactive. You know, we're in the shows that we have, we're inviting you to DM us with any questions, you know, that might come up as you're watching the show. Because again, we want it to be an exchange, you know, like Cindy said, we want to all just be at the bar together, hanging out, and just shooting the shit and helping each other and get to a better sense of ourselves.
Right. And you know, when women stick together, we can rule the world.
Yes.
So this is our little ruling of the world here at Sisterhood.
Right. So we're going to take over.
Yeah, we are.
Decided that.
Okay.
So one of the things that we want to do, I mean, it is our first show, so we will be feeling things out. But one of the things that we decided that we want to do is something called Ridic of the Week. And ridic meaning ridiculous. So what's a ridiculous thing that happened to you this week? Whether you saw something or heard something or, you know, whatever. So I was telling Cindy the other day, I went into the deli to get, you know, a sandwich to go. And I, you know, ordered my sandwich to go, and I was, you know, wanted a pickle with it. So I said to the young girl behind the counter, can I have, you know, a half sour pickle with that? And she's like, I'm sorry, we only have sour pickles, but if you like, I can cut it in half for you.
Ooh. Ooh. Well, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. And I will certainly have one next week. But send in your ridics, because we want to laugh here too.
Right, please.
You know, we do.
Right. Because, you know, you never know. We might not have a ridic.
A ridic. Right. We might need your ridics.
Right. So please, send us your ridics. Oh, no, I
need ridics. Rewind on that one. Well, you know, it is 9/11. We can't shy away from that date. I think you probably figured it out after we've been talking for a few minutes that we have New York accents, we can't get rid of them, nor do we ever want to get rid of our New York accents.
I always want to ask for a cup of coffee.
So, living down in Florida, you know, over 25 years and whatever, I don't know, I just go, New York is my home, and what happened 18 years ago still rocks my world. It rocks all of our worlds. And it's just so hard to believe how the world has changed since then. But it's beautiful to see the coming together of people because of this. And, right, like, I feel like even today, like a little lighter, I don't know, like, I think of all of you out there who might have been directly affected, and we want you to know we're thinking of you. And it's tough, it's so hard, there's so much sadness out there. And that's also why we want to bring Sister Talk here. We want to try to make it a little lighter tonight.
Right, I mean, I think everybody remembers where they were, you know, on that moment of 9/11, you know, and how it, you know, affected everybody. And it affected everybody differently in different degrees. I mean, I remember I was working as, you know, still working as a nurse practitioner, and I was doing diagnostic testing, and in the waiting room, it was on the TV, you know? And somebody, you know, had screamed, "Oh my God, a plane went into the tower," and I, you know, ran to the lobby to see, and I remember, you know, that vision of the, you know, the tower being in flames, and thinking to myself in that moment, like how almost embarrassing it was, but my thought was, some air traffic controller is like gonna lose their job. Like the magnitude.
Because whoever thought
so far
in a million years. Right.
And then everything that followed. And so we just want to take a moment to, you know, thank, of course, all the first responders.
Mind you, my son is studying to be a first responder, and he was young when 9/11 happened. But even what happened in Parkland and the other things around the world, he just said, "I want to do that for my career. I want to go in and I want to help people. I want to save people's lives." So to those first responders who lost their lives, to the people in the buildings who have lost their lives, to the families who are suffering, and we feel your pain, and we love you. We really do.
Right.
We do.
And, you know, we support you. So then the question comes, when you go through something like this, how do you get out of it, right?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
This was obviously a really deep hole, and, you know, depending on how deep your hole is, everybody still has to dig their way up and out.
Right.
So how do you do that? And that's where what we're about to share with you.
I came across a beautiful woman just a few months ago through a friend, and you know, especially in your 50s, you only want to have good people surrounding you.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I'm allowed to say it, right? Fuck you 50s. It's the fuck
away.
you 50s, in my opinion, and I'm only putting good people around me. And when I met Andi Vallely, that's what I felt. And one of her clients said, exactly, she is a happy beam of light, and that is what she is. She's a transformational coach. She's a speaker. She teaches business coaching, personal coaching. She has retreats. She just started a new business, another section of that called Shift Happens at Work. So she is a plethora of happiness and information and how to have joy in your life and get through the tough stuff.
Yeah.
So we thought, oh, wouldn't she be the best first guest? And she said, yes!
Yay.
So we're about to introduce,
Without further
ado, Andi Vallely.
Yay! And this
I have to sneak in here.
Yes.
Come on and join the
Coffee.
sisterhood.
Yes.
Well, as our first guest, my dear, we are giving you this little gift because we're so grateful that you're here with us.
Yes, it's not that big of a deal.
No, but it is. Shall I or shall
No,
I?
go ahead, please. Feel
That is
free.
so lovely.
There's no 14 carat.
Right, and future guests, we're not really sure if we're going to continue this, so this is just my she's
for
the
me.
first guest.
Right. And because we got.
Because
Here we
Oh,
are.
does it have, see,
There we
she's
go.
A for Andi.
Okay,
So-
bring on the tequila. Where's the
To
tequila?
Sister
Where's
Talk, tequila after the show, Amy.
That
Calm
is
down,
so
she's crazy.
You don't want to know what's in here.
Yeah, yummy.
Yummy.
Thank you.
Yummy.
That's so thoughtful. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
You're very welcome. You're very
It
welcome.
means so much to me. I'll have my morning coffee in it.
Good, I love that.
Thank you.
Okay. We
That's
appreciate it.
the way to get happy for me in the morning, by the
Oh,
way.
don't
If I don't
even
have
start
my
with the
coffee, I can't be happy.
Yeah, no,
It's not good. Oh.
So anyway, you weren't really life coaching at the time of 9/11.
No, I wasn't. I was working in radio.
Okay.
I was working in Philadelphia in radio, in sales, and it, you know, everybody has a different situation, but for me, I was working at a news station.
Okay.
Oh.
just remember like somebody being like, wait, there's another plane. And, you know, it was like just everything stopped.
Everything.
Just everything stopped. I mean, of course I went home, you know, my parents came over, it was like, you just stopped. Because it was shocking.
Yes.
It was just shocking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wonder, you know, so that's the question. When you go through something like that, you know, what are the steps that you take to get out of that? Or the road, you know.
Yeah. It's a big question.
And isn't everyone different
Big
also?
question. Well, that's where we're going to go. So I'm going to share a little story with you that my husband shared with me. My husband is from England, so obviously his experience of it was different because I'm from Philadelphia. So as much as, you know, New York was a train ride away,
Sure,
a big part of my growing up, they still felt it just as much in England. And I remember him telling me at the time he worked at this really big club. And he said, you know, when we heard about it, like everyone sort of gathered in this big cafe room that was there with the TV. And he said there were people that were crying. There were people that were angry. There were people that wanted to do something. And there were people that was in shock. So what was so interesting to both of us about this was that it was the same experience, but we all had different feelings about it. We all had different thinking about it.
Different reactions.
Sure.
How you react to it.
Thinking, but same experience. And that's a metaphor for life, right? Because life happens, and just like your shirt, right? Life happens. However, it's our thinking. It's not actually life. It's our thinking about life. And that's why you'll see some people go through traumatic experiences, and they're okay. And some people go through traumatic experiences and they continue to relive it. Because we live in a thought-created reality. So we're constantly living the feeling of our thinking in the moment. And that's why, again, we don't experience, this is a powerful phrase, so I'm going to say it again, powerful truth, that we don't experience life, we experience our thinking about life.
Right. Like, you know what comes to my mind when you say something like that? Like, I have a multitude of friends who are adopted. And some people who are adopted are fine and fabulous. And other people who are adopted can't get over the fact that they're adopted. Right? So that's what it is. It's the way that you perceive the situation and how you respond to it that I guess is a big determining factor.
All
Right?
the time. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Right, like getting fired from a job could be the most, horrific thing, and then it could be, you know what, I didn't like that job. It's going to make me go out and get another job. So just the way you respond.
So why are some people like that?
Yeah, it's in their DNA, or
No, it's actually learned behavior because all of us, once we see where our experience is coming from, it's like the gig's up. You know, it's like, oh, wait a second. I'm not an effect of the world. I'm not really at the mercy of the world. A lot of us think we're at the mercy of the world. Like if this doesn't go well, I'm not happy. If you're not this way, I'm not happy. If I don't get this job, I'm not happy. If my kid's not this, I'm not happy. If you're not nice to me, I'm not happy. So we put a lot of conditions on our outside circumstances. But the truth is, that's looking outside in. And what I'm suggesting is that we actually live in an inside-out world. So when we're not at the mercy of somebody having to be a certain way for us to be okay, first of all, we're not giving away our power. And we're also seeing that we have everything that we want within us. Like most people get very stuck in thinking that our happiness lies in things or the way we look or how our relationships are. But it's actually, and I know you've heard this so many times, it is an inside job. When we see that we're already okay and we're living in a world of thought, and thoughts come and go, just like, we liken it to the weather. When my husband and I talk about how we see thought in our life, it's like the weather. Sometimes we have cloudy days. It's just the way it goes. And we always know that the sun it's in the background, right? That's also a metaphor for our resilience as human beings. And that's why some people can go through trauma and bounce back very quickly, and other people have a harder time with it. It's not that they're not resilient, they don't know it. They don't see it as quickly. They just don't see it. But we do have resilience, and that's why, we just had this hurricane, and unfortunately the Bahamas was so terribly affected.
that's another, we're thinking of them too.
Yeah.
And so much hurricane relief is going on
Yes,
here.
which is
for
beautiful.
the Bahamas, which
So
is amazing.
But the more that we can be hopeful for that community of people, and the more that we can see their resilience, and of course take action in any way that we can, the more that we're creating an opportunity for them to be inspired, for the community to reboot itself. The more we think, oh, poor them, all we're doing really is lowering our bandwidth, we're lowering our consciousness, we're lowering our mood. And when you're in a low mood, nobody's benefiting from that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
people benefit from when you're in a high mood. Because when you're in a high mood, you're clear, you know, you can see solutions. When you're in a low mood, your mind is so busy, those solutions do not come easily if they ever come at all, because you get very stuck in your thinking. So the best thing that we can do for everyone in any situation is to be hopeful and to see this resilience, that it's available for all of us. Because here's the thing, we don't want to live in a worried state. We don't want to live in a sad state. You know, we get one shot here, and we want to enjoy as much as we can of it. So, you know, something that's already happened, we can sit in very sad thinking about it, but if we sit in very sad thinking about it, we're going to be affecting our life today.
I find
Right,
that
don't bring the past into your future.
And it's,
kind of thing.
well,
Sorry.
it's not honoring that it didn't happen, because by no means am I saying to minimize what happened. I don't mean that at all.
Right,
I'm not taking that away at all. But what I'm saying is we are here today, and what can we do today to create more happiness and peace? And truly, we all want to have a peaceful mind, right? Like, that's our ticket to happiness, is a peaceful mind. So are we getting closer to a peaceful mind by holding on to anger and grudges and resentment, or are we getting further from a peaceful mind?
Right.
So
Yeah.
what can a person do to like let go of those things that haunt them in the past, right? I mean, like some people, like you say, hold on to it.
Yeah.
Some people sort of process it and let it go. And for the people that hold on to it, I guess those are the ones that challenge the most.
Yeah.
And so, like when you have a friend or a family member who's going through that, like what
What do you even say to them? Like sometimes people don't know what to say,
Right.
and then there's the retreating, and you don't know if that's correct to leave them alone or try to help.
Well, you never want to push anything on anybody. I feel like when people are ready to reach out, they will. Of course, you want to be supportive and loving and empathetic. And so remember, empathetic
Yeah,
isn't
sure.
feeling sorry for someone. Empathetic is being there with them. Like, I may not be able to understand this because I haven't been through this myself, but I am with you. You know, sometimes that's really all people need. They don't want to be told what to do. A lot of times people don't want to be told, you should be feeling better. That's actually not going to work so well. But really holding a space for people. It's amazing what compassion and understanding can do for other people. Sometimes that's enough to get somebody to see that there is light, that the sun does continue to come up, that there are ways to, for lack of a better term, distract yourself from thinking that doesn't serve you.
So true, because we lost my mom Elaine a little over a year, our mom a year and a half ago, and then our dad was just 3 years ago. So we went, and it was really hard to try to get out of that.
Yeah.
But I felt like the more I pushed myself to get involved with other people specifically and help others and not dwell on my stuff, it makes you feel better. And like I've been doing philanthropy for years and years and years, and I feel like you as that person get the better of it. And I always say that, like celebrities who have everything and they're miserable, well, go do something with a charity. Go give of yourself. Because when you do that, you feel better about yourself inside and you're helping others. I kind of feel like, right?
It's a connection. We want to feel connected. When we feel connected to other human beings, we just sort of strengthen our own feelings of happiness when we feel connected, when we feel like we're bringing joy and happiness to others. And here's the thing, there's, like when you went through your losing both of your parents, it's like, there's no time frame that says, okay, well, you should feel better now. It's like
people say that.
One of the things that I feel so strongly about is it's okay to be where you are. It's okay to be where you are.
I think that's what I was wondering too. Like, at what point is it too much, though? I mean, is it appropriate to grieve? I guess you grieve your whole life, right? But at what point does it become like you need to jump? Something has to get you jump started, right? Like you can't be in your house every day with a bottle of wine and just going to work and coming home and having another bottle of wine. I mean, that has
Right. How do you get out of that rut?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not a solution, right? It looks like a solution, but it's
It
not.
tastes like a
It
solution.
does taste like a solution. I don't know why we
Feels
don't have
good
it.
like a solution.
But I mean, I can't say that there's a time frame, but here's the thing: like we all have inner wisdom, like we have a knowing inside of us, and I feel like we might not always listen to that inner wisdom, but we know when it's time to put this aside, and it's time to just start looking in a different direction. You know, my husband and I always say we don't teach as much as we point, meaning we point people in a direction of truth. We teach people the actual blueprint of how we experience life, so that once you really see this, and I'm saying see with like a capital S, you know, capital S, capital E, capital E, like really see it, like have this realization of, oh my goodness, I'm actually living in a world of thought, like everything that I'm experiencing, I'm making up in my mind. Once you really see that, it doesn't mean that suddenly you don't get sad, or you don't get angry, or you don't get hurt. What I've found, and what our clients have found, is that it doesn't have that sting that it used to have, and the recovery period is quicker. And as you sort of move up the levels of what's available to us in our own consciousness, things that used to bring us down just don't bring us down. We can kind of let life happen around us, and it's like, it's okay, you know. I feel like you're just kind of riding a little pillow, you know. It doesn't mean that you're experiencing the world. It just means that you're not allowing it to take you down anymore. Your mind is more quiet, and when your mind is quiet, there's so much more available in life. So for me, it's like this whole crazy giant world that's opened up since I've seen this understanding.
And do you think it has to do with social media? Because think about, okay, let's go back like 10, 12 years when social media was just in the infancy.
Yeah.
And compared to now, first of all, there's 9 million life coaches, transitional coaches,
absolutely,
transformational coaches, coach on top of a coach.
Yeah.
I don't remember
And we always say you
that.
can throw a stone, you'll hit a life coach.
Right, exactly. And I just see this change, and I see also, you know, everyone on their phones, lack of communication, of connection, of, oh, she did this, oh, she went there. I don't know. Do you see that in your business? Do you notice?
You know,
Like, put the phone down.
well, what I would say is, here's the thing: we can't fight technology, right? Like, it's just what's happening. Like I always say, you know, we get, as parents, you know, we're like, get off your phone. But the truth is, it's the way the world is today. You know, I would liken it to when my dad was born. He told me this story that, you know, they moved when he was like 2 years old, and they moved with a horse and buggy. So, right? So what if when cars became invented, they were like, no, we're not going to have any cars around here. Don't be starting with that. You know. So this is technology. It's just the way of the world. It's what you make of it. Like for me, social media is amazing because it's opened up my world. Like my husband and I teach the 3 principles, this inside-out understanding. I wouldn't have the access to it. I'm studying with teachers from all over the world. Sometimes it's face-to-face. Most of the time it's virtually.
Yes, I mean, there's so many more positives.
There's so many more positives.
Yes.
So it's all where you look. You know, it really, truly is all where you look. So for me, I mean, when I first sort of fell into, I wanted to become a happiness coach, I met this amazing group of people from all over the world. There were 5 or 6 women, and we've kept in touch. It was been 10 years. And we still keep in touch, and I don't know that would have been possible without social media. So yes, I do see where it can be a hindrance, because I think it's the demise of, you know, with kids. I think it's a big problem. It's such an unfortunate situation. And, you know, just like everything can be wonderful and everything can be horrible. It's your vision. You know, it's your awareness. I like to say it's your awareness. You know, when our bandwidth is shrunken, our awareness is shrunken, and we can't see our way out of a paper bag. But when our bandwidth is, you know, out here like this, it's like, oh my goodness, we see everything that's available to us. It's like, you know, did you ever, somebody tell you about like the world's greatest dry cleaner, and you've been driving past that dry cleaner for 10 years and you never noticed it?
Right.
Like, it's always been there. This is how life works. Like what we want is already here for us, whether we see it or not. That's a different story. But you know, nothing's hiding from us.
Right. Just have to know how to go out and get it.
Everything's it's about opening up your bandwidth. It's a consciousness thing. It's a quieting the mind. You know, a quiet mind is a really healthy mind. So with less on your mind, there's just so much more available to us.
which is why Amy has gotten into meditation.
Oh, yeah.
And she feels like it's changed her world.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very powerful tool,
Yeah.
as far as rebooting the mind and,
Yeah.
yes, I mean, even.
That is a tool, right? To, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
meditation
bring
is-
happiness and to just calm yourself down.
Yes.
And I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's a very powerful tool, and it's, available to everybody, but, it's not something that you can learn in 5 minutes.
Right.
You have to, like anything, you make a commitment to it, you make a
Right.
choice, right, of what are you gonna choose to balance your life? What are gonna be the tools that you're gonna choose? I mean, for me now, it's transcendental meditation, and I've become like very active in yoga, which is like very, very funny to me, because never in a million years that I would be saying
You were
those
living
words.
such a busy, fast-paced lifestyle.
Oh my God, it was, right. And so now it's like almost like anything that I can do slowly is enticing to me, So maybe that's also part of it too, like, for people who are going through a struggle, is just, to find something that, like, it might be new that they can make a commitment to help sort of, reboot your inner self, right? I mean, I would think that, that could be a helpful thing if you sort of, look to expand another aspect of your life. Then maybe that can give you
Absolutely.
strength,
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you're in pain or you're hurting, as we are in our, baby boomer years, and you can get depressed. You don't feel good. She said you have to go to yoga. She's like begging me, and I'm not a yoga. I didn't think I was a yoga person, and now I'm sitting here and I have no lower back pain. So everybody grab a yoga mat.
Yeah.
Really, yoga. Now any kind of yoga, you know what? And also everyone is very spiritual, like in the sense that kindness is surrounded. So when you go to those kind of classes, it really breathes happiness, and you can shut the outside world out.
Yeah.
And I think in our crazy world, you need to shut the outside world out sometimes.
Well, here's what's so beautiful about all of that, is that you already have that feeling that you get from yoga and meditation within you. It looks like it's coming from the yoga and meditation, but it's actually coming through you. It's coming from you. So that feeling that you have, it's not conditional. If you love yoga, do yoga. If you love meditating, do meditating. It's fantastic. Listen, if I get up, I love to go to the gym like first thing in the morning. I love my classes. I just love the energy there. So I do it.
Right.
And I also know that that peaceful feeling is available to all of us all the time. And you said something so magnificent. In calming the minds, like what we say to our clients, like your train, your mind, right? I feel like you get on a train with your mind, you get on your train of thoughts, is moving, most of us is moving so fast in one direction that the only way to get it to go in another direction, if you don't like what you're experiencing in life, is exactly what you said, is to slow it down. You gotta slow it down, bring it to a halt so that you can go in the other direction. You can't just jump the tracks and go in another direction. So you're absolutely 100% right.
That's a great
it's that
tidbit.
slowing down. It's that
So you think
slowing
that's
down.
like the primary, I was gonna ask you, like now that we like sort of have to start wrapping it up, is that like the primary takeaway that you want to give for our viewers as far as, self-help and, getting out of a rut?
Yeah, it's self-discovery. It's like, wow, I'm already everything that I want to be, right? That's really it. And it's just seeing that our mindset has everything to do with how we experience life. So if we're in a low mindset, don't go texting and calling people and emailing people. Chill on that. The whole thing is, it'll pass if you let it. When you're in a great mindset, that's the best time to go out and experience life. And just know that our moods are like the weather, so we don't have to take things quite so seriously.
Be nice to
It's
yourself.
it's
Be
very
nice to
freeing
yourself.
to know that it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be sad. And you might go through it for a little while, but as long as we don't hang on to stuff, I always say, as long as you don't take the train to Crazy Town, get off and set up camp, you're gonna be fine. You can take the train to Crazy Town and then take it back to the station. It's a normal detour.
I love that. Take it back to the station.
Yeah, you don't have to
That's it.
set up camp.
I love that.
Well, thank you so much, Andy,
Thank you so
for
much.
being with us, and I hope it was helpful for
Yes.
for
I hope
people out
everyone's
there.
nodding like I am.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right, yeah, acknowledge, you know, the people who today is a very rough day for, and we're just sending out like positive thoughts and positive energy.
Yes.
And we feel for you, and you know, we hope that, you know, your grief just gets lessened a little bit every year as best it can.
Absolutely.
And in the words of our mother, take it away, Sin.
Just be happy.
Oh, that is so precious.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
2 weeks, Sister Talk. Oh, wait, just tell them.
2 weeks, Sister Talk, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, of course. A dear friend of mine, Cindy Bunyan, who is a marriage and licensed family therapist. We're going to talk about relationships, family. We might talk about dating, how to like sizzle in your relationships. You know, we're gonna take it up a notch next week.
It's going to be
in
fun.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 28th, 7 o'clock.
If anyone wants to reach Andi, or
Yes.
go to her website.
Thank you. You can go to spreadhappy.net, and everything about me and my husband and our business is on there, and hopefully lots of resources that you'll find enjoyable too, to give you some pick-me-ups.
Spreadhappy.net.
Spread happy, yes, to pick me ups.
Oh!